Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AAFR Talk. Word out apparently now that General Petraeus resigning over an extramarital affair. And I got to tell you, he's not in the military anymore, so I don't get that. I mean, I don't understand that. People don't have to resign from a non-military position because of an extramarital affair. So that's still, I mean, maybe he's fallen on his sword. I have no doubt if he's admitting it, then it's got to be true. And it'd be odd that a guy would humiliate himself in public like that by using that as an excuse or as a reason to resign if that really wasn't the reason. In other words, the reason is that he wants to get as far away from this mess as he possibly can. I just don't understand why an affair in this culture today, why you'd have to resign over that. That happens all the time. You know, if you're a conservative and you have one, well, that's a different deal because we actually have moral standards that we try to live up to and that we expect others to live up to. But liberals have no moral standards. So there's no, I don't get why that would be a disqualifying. It would be in a conservative worldview, but for liberals, I don't know. So I'm guessing there's more to it than that. But that is the reason that Petraeus is given anyway, that he had to resign because of this affair. Well, let's grab a couple of phone calls before we go back to some sound bites. Let's go to Ashley in Columbus, Ohio. Ashley, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian. Thanks for taking the call.
Yeah.
I had a couple of points that I wanted to make. Obviously, I'm from the disappointment state of Ohio, and I wanted to say that I totally agree with your idea to have a takeover of the party by social conservatives, because social issues do matter. The last Republican to win Ohio was George W. Bush in 2004, and anybody in Ohio knows the reason he was able to win that was because of the mass turnout for the gay marriage ban amendment that was on the ballot. And so it does matter. But my the main point of my call was, as an Ohioan, I'm very frustrated because I looked at the map on election night, and we're overwhelmingly red with a few splotches of blue. And what I was going to propose is, instead of scrapping the Electoral College like some have called for, I actually believe that we should amend it and start with the state of Ohio and go to more of a model like what Nebraska and Maine have, that electoral votes by congressional districts.
Well, I'm with you there, Ashley, all the way. 100% I'm in agreement with you there.
I just think that it makes a lot of sense for states like Ohio and Wisconsin, and where there are good conservative folks that just get drowned out because the spigot cities are able to very quickly and very efficiently pump out these manufactured votes and just outnumber the votes. There's no excuse that the social conservatives don't come out and vote, but at the same time, if there's a systemic change that we can make, and in Ohio, our state legislature is very much dominated by Republicans at this point.
Yeah. Well, this would be the time for them to do it because states can allocate their electoral votes however they choose to do it. And thanks for the call, Ashley. It's a great call, and it's a great point. There are 2 states in the union that award their electoral votes based on congressional districts. So in Maine, they've got 4 electoral districts. In Nebraska, there's 2 electoral votes. Well, Nebraska must have 4 because you have to have at least 2 for your senators and then 2 for your representatives. But however many it is, they award them on the basis of congressional districts. And then they'll maybe have a couple because you got 2 senators. You got 1 for every congressman you have, 1 electoral vote. Then you get 2 for each of your 2 senators. So I don't know exactly how they do it. Maybe the electoral votes that sort of are linked to the Senate positions, maybe those go to the winner of the statewide vote. That would make sense to me, that the winner of the statewide vote would get those 2 bonus electoral votes. That's fine by me. That seems fair. But it also seems fair to have the electoral votes awarded by congressional district, as Ashley was suggesting, rather than winner take all for the entire state. You know, in Nebraska, like they had to wait to find out whether all of the electoral votes were going to go to Romney or Obama or it was going to be a split because they had to wait for the results to come in the congressional districts. And you look at a place like Ohio, for instance, you know, in Ashley's point, if you look at a map, I mean, I've looked at a county map, and maybe you've seen a county-by-county map of Ohio. If not, go to Fox News and click on their election results thing, and you can click on the state of Ohio. They'll pop up a map which shows you the county-by-county results in the state of Idaho. That's Ohio. That state is overwhelmingly red. It is overwhelmingly red if you go county by county. So conservatives control the bulk of the turf, the total square miles that are controlled by conservative voters is massive compared to the square miles controlled by the Democrats, by blues. But because there are population centers, they tend to overwhelm the more rural voters. If you had those votes assigned by congressional district, then I think it would encourage more participation because people in their own congressional district would feel like they've got a reason to turn out and vote. You live in a populated state like California, and or New York. You know that all of your electoral votes on the current system are going to go to the Democrat. Now, if you're a Democrat and you live in a place like Oklahoma, well, you know that all of the votes in your state are going to go to the Republican. So that might discourage turnout. We want everybody to participate. But if you know it's congressional district by congressional district, then you need to campaign in those districts for the Republican or the Democrat candidate and convince the people in that district to vote for your guy because there's an electoral vote at stake right there in that congressional district. And I entirely agree. That's the way that we ought to go. You know, electoral votes are awarded based on the number of representatives your state has, plus 2 senators. So if that's the way it's conceived, this is connected somehow, the bulk of the electoral votes connected somehow to representation in the House of Representatives. Let's go ahead and do that district by district. I think it's an absolutely great idea. Let's go to Randall, Lubbock, Texas. Randall, you're on Focal. Oh, by the way, hang on, Randall. I'll get to you in just a second. Speaking of Ohio, this is an interesting deal. And it's fascinating to me because I think you have some serious voter fraud in the state of Ohio, serious voter fraud. Here's a story from punditpress.com this morning. In Cleveland, in some districts, Obama got 100% of the vote in dozens of locations. In dozens of locations, President Obama got 100% of the vote. For instance, in the 5th Ward, he won districts E, F, and G 1,337 to 0. Even Gary Johnson got more votes than Mitt Romney. You go look in the 9th Ward, and Obama won districts D through G 1,740 to 3, meaning Mitt Romney got 0.2% of the vote. Now you can say, well, these are minority districts, but realize nationwide, 7% of blacks voted for Romney. It was 93-7. So Obama did dominate, but Republican, Romney still got 7% of the vote, but not in Cleveland. He's getting 0. I mean, literally 0 votes. It just does not compute. There are 21 districts in Cleveland, 21, where Governor Romney received precisely 0 votes. And in 23 districts, he got 1 vote. So in those 44 districts, half of them he got no votes. The other half, he got 1 vote. That, to put it mildly, there is something way hinky about that. And I'm using hinky there with a capital H. Now, one of the districts where Obama got 100% of the vote, he got 100% turnout. In other words, every single person that was registered to vote in that district, according to the records, turned out, and every one of them voted for Obama. Again, that is hinky, capital H, capital I, capital N, capital K, capital Y. Now, in Philadelphia, you had the same thing in Philadelphia. GOP poll inspectors, we did the story on Tuesday, they were thrown out of polling locations, and President Obama got astronomical numbers in those same places. Some of these places, he got over 99% of the vote in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania. For instance, Ward 4, he defeated Romney 9,955 to 55. That's 99.5% of the vote. So rest of America gets 93% of the black vote, but in Ward 4, he gets 99.5% of the vote. Now, voter turnout overall in Philadelphia was around 60%, but in these precincts, it was over 90%. Now, I don't have a figure in front of me what the turnout was in Ohio or in Cleveland, but I'm guessing it was probably about the same, maybe 60%. But we got some of those districts where 100% of the people, according to the hinky voting records, turned out, and 100% of them voted for Barack Obama. Ladies and gentlemen, that is hinky, capital H, capital I, capital N, capital K, capital Y. Let's go to Randall in Lubbock, Texas. Randall, you're on Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Thank you, Brian, for taking my call. I just wanted to say, I'm very blessed by your program, and God bless you.
Thank you very much.
My main concern was with the Hispanic vote. I myself am a third-generation Hispanic, and I am very disappointed in the lack of educated votes that we received. But what I think that conservative Republicans must understand is that the Hispanic vote is a vote of loyalty. And I think I do Hispanic marketing myself, so I do a lot of analysis on buying, routines of the Hispanic people, and it always comes down to loyalty. And I think we've lost that. It's too late in the game to try to reach out the way that we have, been doing. Hannity reaching out in the way that he did was comical.
Yeah, that's kind of what. So I just want to button this down around. And is there a possibility you could stay over the break?
Sure.
Okay,
sure.
I may ask you to stay over the break, but I just want to button this one thing down before you finish your thought.
Okay.
Because what I hear you saying is that loyalty is a big issue in the Hispanic community, and because they have voted Democrat in the past, they feel a certain connection to the Democratic Party, and out of loyalty and sentiment, they will continue to vote Democrat. Am I correct on that?
Yes, definitely. And I've seen it in my church, and I was very disappointed in the fact that it wasn't about the issues, but more about loyalty.
Okay, well, listen, Randall. Now, don't answer this question now, but do you have a suggestion for how the Republicans might be able to make inroads into the Hispanic community?
Honestly, as Herman Cain said, a third party reaching out to the minority wouldn't be that bad of a deal if it's possible.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I guess the question there would be whether that would be possible, and why that would kind of break that loyalty lock that you described that they have toward the Democrat Party. All right, well, that's interesting, Randall. I appreciate that. That is a fascinating insight, because loyalty obviously is a good quality, and that may explain a lot of the dynamics and may make it even more difficult for Republicans to make inroads into the Hispanic community. Well, thanks, Randall. Appreciate the call. Focal Point, AFR Talk.